G'day, welcome back to Banksy's Kitchen. Tonight we're going to do a pretty simple meal for two people. We all love lamb cutlets, but at $42 a kilo, you don't have them that often. So we're going to make an alternative to lamb cutlets, which will be a pork cutlet. And done the same way, you can have it with mashed potato, whatever you want. Tonight we're having it with zucchini and tomato sauce, cauliflower with Mornay white cheese sauce, and some mashed potato. So let's get it all started and we'll show where we begin. Okay, first thing we've done is we've put the cauliflower into some hot water. Technically it should be boiling water, but hot tap water is okay. Bring it to the boil and just let it gently cook for, I don't know, probably 10 minutes or so. You still want it a little bit firm, and then once that's done, we just drain it off, put it in another bowl, and make our white sauce in the same pot. So we're trying to save pots here. This can all be done ahead, so this could be done in the afternoon, then put in the fridge, and then later on, whack it in the oven to heat it up. So let's continue on. Okay, next stage is the zucchini with tomato sauce. So we just take a garlic clove and we're going to chop that up. That's probably enough. And I'm going to put some olive oil in a pan and cook it slowly. We're not going to cook this too quick because we don't want it to burn. And olive oil burns quite quickly. So into the saucepan, olive oil, be generous, tastes good. So onto the stove, it's probably 2 or 3 tablespoons, onto the stove, and we'll let that cook slowly. So I'll be back with you in a second. While that's cooking, we chop up our zucchini. So half will be plenty. So we just split it. This is quite a big zucchini. So now what we do, just not too thick, just cut it thin. You can cut it into battens if you like. It's really whatever shape you want. You know, battens, you can do it like strips. I've just done slice, but you could do like sticks or whatever you want. It's up to you. Let's roughly chop this up. Once that garlic is sweated off, then we add the zucchini. So we'll get back when that's ready. So I'll put that zucchini in the pot now, and I've got some fresh oregano out of the garden. If you don't have fresh oregano or basil, doesn't matter, just use dried. We'll get that on the stove now and finish cooking. Nicely. And there's your cauliflower over there. So now we're going to put some passata, which is your tomato sauce, and if you don't know what that is, that's it there. And you can get that in any supermarket. And just give that a whiz around. And what we're going to do now is put a little bit of salt and pepper, cover it, and have it really low and let it cook away. Again, you can prepare this earlier and just reheat it when you need it. Okay, we'll get back to you. Alright, so the cauliflower is now cooked. So I'm just going to take it out the water. I'm going to put it in a bowl, just a normal bowl. There's only for 2 of us, so I don't need to make a big tray. And that's fine. Just drain off the water, put it to the side. Empty this, I'll make the sauce in the same pot. So back on my heat. Just dry it with a bit of paper towel. Hope you can see that clearly. I might use this one. And butter. Oh, maybe a tablespoon. Don't need too much. And just melt that. You don't want this too hot because it will burn. Let's have a look. Now, if you make too much of this sauce, it doesn't matter because You just put it in the fridge or freezer and bring it out next time. Because I'm celiac, I'm only gluten-free, so we use gluten-free plain flour. Heap spoonful. Again, watching not to burn it. This is what you call a roux. So this is to thicken the sauce. Probably needs a little bit more flour. Turn that down. And you want it to cook up like that sandy sort of colour. Now what you should be doing is traditionally you add hot milk, but I find that it tends to burn. So we add hot water. So I'll get some water into it. That's on the go. Whisk happening. Just give it a whisk up. And stainless steel whisk is fine in a stainless steel pot. You don't want to be doing it in an aluminium pot because your sauce will go grey. Give that a whisk up. Come along nicely. That zucchini's ready. So that didn't take long. Took maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. So this sauce will thicken up and you'll need to just add a little bit more water to it. So don't say, okay, that's thick enough and take it off, because the roux's not cooked out and it'll have a real floury taste. So we put a bit more water. Just come up. Keep on whisking. You don't want too many lumps. You don't want any actually, but geez, you know, it's home cooking. If you have a few lumps, what's the big deal? If you're in a restaurant, you just strain it. But this is just for home, so, and you'll be impressing people anyway. So, a little bit more milk, I reckon, or water. Now the trick is, because we haven't added milk, it's not going to burn. But we'll add milk powder. So, when everyone went into panic buy at the first lockdown and I couldn't get milk, I just bought a bag of milk powder and I thought, well, if I get desperate, I'll just make it up myself. And we never got desperate enough, so I just use it in sauces now, custards, whatever. And you can follow the recipe if you want to, or just put lots in, make it nice and creamy. So that's coming up nicely now. We need to put salt. Just salt to taste. So then we have a taste of it. It tastes okay. It needs a little bit more water. It tastes like a pretty bland white sauce at the moment, but we'll add cheese, and then that's what makes it become a Mornay. So we just put in some grated tasty. Again, most of the stuff you'll all have in your house. If you don't want gluten-free plain flour, that's fine, just use normal plain flour. Add the cheese. If you've got white pepper, put white pepper in, because then it won't put black spots in your sauce. But I don't have white pepper, and I don't care about the black spots, so a bit of black pepper. You can put cayenne pepper if you've got that, because that'll just dissolve. So that's coming up nice. A little bit more water. You normally cook this for 5 or 10 minutes on a low heat. Just keep stirring it so it doesn't catch on the bottom. But that's just about done. So I'm going to come back to you when it's cooked out. Alrighty, so we've got our cooked cauliflower, we've got our Mornay sauce, which is ready, and we've got our spoon to put it on. So all you need to do now is just spoon it over. And remembering, if you've got 6 or 8 people for dinner, then you can put it in a casserole dish or a tray or something. But just for 2 of us, cereal bowl's fine. Right, that's ready to go, and we'll just get the rest of the meal put together. Alrighty, we're back. Mashed potatoes. So I've just cut the potatoes up roughly. Don't bother peeling them, as long as they're washed. You don't want dirty potatoes and not peeled. And some salt, cold water, bring it to the boil, simmer. Normally takes 20 minutes or so, 20, 30 minutes. I like to overcook them, so when you do mash them, they're nice and soft. And once they're cooked, salt and pepper, drain off the water first, salt and pepper, good knob of butter, and if you've got cream and you want to put cream in it, that's good too. And then just mash them up, done. So these can be cooking while I'm preparing the pork chops. And as you remember before, we did our zucchini. So that's ready to go. I just need to reheat it. And that needs to go in the oven. If I can be bothered turning the oven on for 2 people, I might just microwave it hot. So it's up to you. And we'll get stuck on the chop. All right, so our alternative to lamb cutlet is a pork cutlet. And you can buy these in the butcher. The Chinese butcher is normally really good for them. And it's like a T-bone, I guess, of lamb. That's of pork, that's the loin. So that's basically what's on the lamb chop anyway. So $14 a kilo as compared to $42, no brainer. So there is a little bit of prep, but not much. So let's go through that now. You can just, where that bone is there, it's like a T-bone. You can leave that in and just crumb it, or you can take it out. I actually prefer to take that little bit out there, so it's a little bit tricky. Just cut through and then just run the knife along there. Done. So you've only got that little bit of bone there now. So, and with all your veggies and it's crumbed, and one of these is enough for me. If you need to have 2, then get 2. But I usually just freeze these in bags of 2. All right, that's done. Now we just tap them out lightly. So just like you'd be doing a schnitzel. So just so they cook a little more even, just make sure you tap around the bone a bit too, because you don't want it thick at the bone, it doesn't cook. So most of you have a meat hammer or something like that. This is called a cutlet bat, and I've had it for a very long time. All right, let's get the crumbing started. All right, for the crumbing, we need plain flour, gluten-free for me. Just a little bit on there. Then we just flour this like that. Pop it on the plate. On the plate. This one is your whitewash. Straight into the bowl. This one you put your breadcrumbs. So we're not wasting anything. The whitewash, we add water. So I'll put some water in there. We're just going to give it a little whisk up. Use a fork if you haven't got a whisk. That's done. Dip it in the egg wash or whitewash, which is just a very thin batter. Onto this. Now this whole meal, from start to finish, wouldn't even take half an hour. So, and that's including for the potatoes to cook, which would be close to half an hour. So it just depends how organised you can get things done. as to how long it takes. So while everything else, while the potatoes are cooking, I can start cooking these pork chops. So beautiful. I'll get back to you once we start doing our cooking. Well, the other thing too to take note is there's no mess. Like I've used 2 saucepans and a frying pan and that bowl and that plate, and that's it. So it's really nice and tidy as well. All right, so now we're going to cook the cutlets, and we just cook them in the electric frying pan. But you say, oh, I don't have an electric frying pan. Fine, we'll cook them in the gas wok. So it's totally up to you. Put the oil in. I've had it on high to heat it up. Now, you don't want to put these in when the oil's cold because the crumbs will fall off. So the test, just take a little bit of the crumb, drop it in, it's frying, and you can drop them in. And the trick is, turn it down because you don't want it too hot. It will burn. The electric frying pan, it's a bit easier to control. So this one, we just have it down a bit lower, and it takes maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes each side maybe. You'll know when they're cooked anyway. So we'll get back when we flip them over and dish up the meal. Alright, so we'll flip these over now. They've been going about 2 minutes on one side. They're nice and golden. I'll probably take another 2 or 3 minutes on that side. While that's happening, we're going to mash up our spuds. I've drained them off already, and I'm going to add some butter. Be generous. Probably a tablespoon or more. Just mash them up. Try and do it so you can see. Don't forget to do the famous Banksy tap. Three mashes. Tap tap. That's just a family joke. Alright, they're ready. So what we do now is just put the lid back on those so they'll stay hot. Look on the other side of these, they're cooking up nicely. We're going to turn our zucchini on because we're going to heat that up. And our cauliflower, which we prepared earlier, we're now going to put a little bit of water in it, because once you put the sauce in, it sets. It can be a little bit hard, so just put a little bit of water down the sides. A couple of minutes in a microwave, and that should be ready. Alrighty, let's dish it up. So we have our mashed potato. We have our zucchini. Oh, nice with the sauce. Pork chop. Now we know they're cooked. If you're not sure and you just want to make sure, just cut the edge and you'll see that the meat's cooked. And our cauliflower, which actually took 3 minutes in the microwave. Same spoon, cauliflower. Look at that. Bit of sauce on it. Beautiful. If you want to make gravy, you can add gravy. Look, how simple is that? It took no longer than half an hour to do the whole lot. Alright, well have a go at it and enjoy yourself.